Welcome to Confident Woman Lead, the podcast for professional Black women ready to step strategically into real power. No apologies necessary. Hey there, I'm your host, Anita Miller, and I have been called to speak today on more than just career and leadership because our lives are no longer siloed, meaning that they're more intertwined than ever. No longer can you just go to work, do your job, and leave it at the job. With that understanding, in today's episode, I'm going to be using very direct examples. Apply these scenarios to your life, but I want you to ensure that you review any decisions that you need to make with professionals who can help you protect you and your assets. That means attorneys, spouses, accountants, financial planners, or anyone else with the expertise to help you make an informed decision. Today, we're talking about your strategy, your money, and why your idea of freedom might actually be what's keeping you stuck. Here is a high-level synopsis of the current state of what we see in politics that have impacts on our lives. This week, Trump is proposing garnishing 15% of your paycheck for student loans. So if you haven't restarted payments, if you haven't heard about this, make sure you go do your own research and understand how it's going to impact you. I believe that this will be the next level version of what student loans is, which is sharecropping. This will be taking it to another level. It will be setting a precedent that says, if you take out student loans, once you get a job, we can take the payment directly from your check. On top of that, we have inflation. We have housing being the highest it's ever been in any of our lives, dollar for dollar. And we also have the myth that you can comfortably thrive on a single income. It is a myth with the way that the economy and our society is currently being structured. Now, I know we are in a resting season, and I love that for us. I do. However, resting doesn't mean ignoring the state of change our country is in or failing to prepare accordingly. I also want to address the notion that we've been here before. And so essentially, we're cool, we'll survive. True. But back when we have survived in the past, we had a crucial element, and that was we had community and we operated more as a collective. If you think back on our upbringing as millennials or Gen X, many of us, if not most of us, we shared homes across generations. We shared homes across multiple families. We pooled collective resources. We owned family land. We had communal gardens. We passed down home remedies. We operated as a village. Most of us were raised in a village. It operated as a collective. Not only did we have a collective from a communal perspective, we also had collective government safety nets. This applies whether you grew up in low-income housing or in multi-generational homes. Here is the hard truth. Surviving isn't a strategy. It's misplaced hope. Hope alone does not inherently change situations or build generational power. It only passes down struggle. Let me get even more specific with an example that may sting, but know that I'm not saying it as a negative. I'm saying it as, let's make sure we collectively as a sisterhood are prepared for the strategy that they are executing against, and that we have a plan and our own strategy to protect ourselves, our assets, our children, and our resources. Because if you remove government safety nets and you remove that we don't have community and we're not operating as a collective, that means it leaves you as an individual, and it's easy to attack a people divided. Let's say you're a Black woman, a single mother of two, making six figures, but you're also carrying a mortgage, a car note, and student loan debt. The odds are not great, that you'll reach 2029 intact without a clear, powerful strategy. Inflation will outpace your earnings. If they have to garnish your wages, it will shrink your paycheck off the top, giving you less to work with. If the economy changes, you need strategy, not hope, not luck. White families make this collective strategy non-negotiable because it's not about comfort. It's about survival, wealth, and power. They prioritize the collective over individuals because that's how generational wealth survives. Now, if you don't like that statement, take a look at what is happening and why it is happening. The decisions they're making about women's bodies, marriage, immigration are based on trying to turn the tide so that white people as a whole survive because their numbers are not rising like other minority groups. So they are executing a strategy. We are hoping to survive that strategy. That is not how you survive. We, Black women, Black families, often prioritize freedom, independence, not wanting to deal with people, not wanting to forgive, not wanting to set boundaries. Because historically, we haven't had any. But right now, I need you to clearly understand real freedom is owning the land, controlling your money, and creating security that no policy or economy can touch. When talking to your family about community, here's your sell. Freedom is not renting space in someone else's economy. Freedom is having your mortgage paid off, ensuring you never have to worry about housing security or financial crisis. Freedom is ensuring your kids and grandkids don't start from scratch every generation. Our kids will not be afforded the same opportunities we were afforded. If they are afforded the opportunities such as student loans, it's going to come with up-leveled sharecropping that will have them forever indebted at a worse state that we find ourselves. Imagine that. When you're talking to them, when you're talking to yourself about it, I want you to be clear and I want you to say it plain. Look, we can choose individual comfort right now or collective power forever. Comfort feels good today, but power is what let us sleep at night. Power lets you sleep from a place of knowing you're not vulnerable. And power is what allows you to pass down safety nets, resources, and choices, including having no debt and minimizing struggle. Most of us are the strong one, the smart one, the educated one, the leaders in our family. It's time to lead, and sometimes it doesn't mean that people get an option. Here's a truth that is unavoidable. We will return to multi-generational or multi-family living no matter what. It's either going to happen for you because you're taking what I'm saying or you've already started planning and being strategic, thinking about where assets need to be consolidated, where we can sell now, take the profits, pool the profits collectively, buy land, put a mobile home on it, if you will. There's some nice ones these days from what I see online. Build a house on it, if you will. Or we can move where one family is living upstairs, the other family is living downstairs in a 3-story home or a basement home. There are options that we can explore if we are in the position right now. If you're the sole provider, you have to think about the possibility of if for whatever reason I don't have this income, what is going to happen to me? And if I have a family, what is going to happen to them? This is not a time, and we saw this in 2008, where we as a people lost homes, lost resources because we didn't take a proactive approach. A proactive approach says, let me see what's going on right now and come up with a strategy to make an effort at least to protect yourself, your family, your wealth, your assets. Will the people do what people do? Absolutely. That is not a reason to do nothing. There are possibilities. If you don't have family that you like, I didn't say you had to talk to them. I say you had to come to an understanding that keeps everyone housed with food, with shelter, where we're pulling resources, where we have a clear contract, even if necessary. If I look out and see what's happening and I think about what is the best way to ensure we are all covered, and that makes the logical sense. And I can sell now while it's high before the housing market starts to go back the other way, or before you don't have an option to sell, the bank is going to sell for you. And when the bank sells for you, your chances of getting any money out of that is very limited, FYI. So I'm saying, hey, it doesn't have to be family by blood. Can it be family by we want to survive? Can it be an understanding by we have a friendship? Can it be family by our connection? I live in North Carolina and I moved here by myself with no family. But since I moved here in 2002, we have built a village. If I needed to, I would also go back to the DMV and find land that my extended family and I could build together. We're actually having some conversations about that now as a smaller working family group, because sometimes you gotta work small like you do in the office before you tell all the people and all the voices and all the things, right? So I'm saying that there are ways to do this. I'm not saying it has to be black and white. I'm not saying any of us are going to love the idea. I am saying do not let overwhelm, do not let the thought that you have no power or no say in this, do not let fear paralyze you and you sit here and do nothing. This is the time to do something. This is the time to make strategic decisions for yourself, for your family, whatever family looks like for you. Because those who do not look at what is and decide that maybe my teenager is going to get a job right now. That way we can go ahead and save some money. Maybe we save the money right now, even though I don't want to take them to a job. And that will allow us to get them a car that's paid for. They will stay home and go to school. So my son, and I'm giving you examples because I want you to have some thought about what are the options, what does strategy look like. My son will go and stay on campus this year. But if things continue as they are, he will likely not stay on campus next year. He's staying on campus this year for a couple reasons. It's in his best interest from a communal perspective and for him becoming a young man, specifically because he was also homeschooled. So this is an effort to help him build his own village, his own community, his own set of extended friends at the next chapter of his life. And while I would love for him to stay for his sophomore year, if financially that doesn't make sense, if as a community that doesn't make sense, a village that doesn't make sense, then he will still get his degree and he will leave school with a degree and no student loan debt. I'm sharing this so that you have some understanding of what I'm saying when I say, what is the strategy? What is the plan? Who's serious about executing it? What choices are you making for your children, whether they like it or not? And this includes our young adult children or even our older children, for those of us who have children older than mine. My daughter wants to go to law school, and I am here for her going to law school, but I am not here for her going to law school if it's going to put her 6 figures in debt. The math won't math and it won't make sense in the end. And yes, it can be cute to say, oh, my daughter's a lawyer. That would not pay bills, and that would not get her out of that sharecropping contract that she signs if she takes out student loans to get through law school. These are the tough conversations we need to have. This is the shift in perspective, because what worked for us just barely worked for us. And the safety nets, we won't see that in our lifetime again. So then you have to ask yourself, knowing what I know about student loans, about the way that that interest compounds, about how overwhelming it felt to us that we just defer them and not think about it because it feels better to go to what used to be our favorite place as Target, but maybe it's Costco now. Instead, why would we want that for our kids? Why would we want a worse version of that for our kids? So they can say that they had a time in school, so that we can say, oh, this is their title, but technically they're poor. Technically they are indebted. Technically they have no assets that they actually own. If you have a year, 2 years worth of savings, that is also a strategy. And you can weigh the pros and cons of said strategy, especially if you are a single household earner. But what will for sure happen is if you don't decide at least on a strategy and start planning and executing it now, and you're waiting for hope or you're waiting for somebody to step in and stop what's happening. And I don't like the saying waiting for somebody to come to save you because I just don't like the saying. I just don't like it. But if you're waiting for things to get better on their own accord, that is hope. And before hope ever steps in, there is chaos and there is tragedy. And it would be a tragedy, given that you're listening to this podcast, for your car to be repossessed, for your house to go into foreclosure, for you to be homeless. And I'm not saying that that's our fate as a collective. I'm saying the data already says that the net worth of Black people right now stands at only 17,000, but by the year 2050, it'll be zero. There is a reason it will be zero, and that reason is happening right in front of our faces right now. So I'm saying, if you don't want your children to inherit zero, then what's your strategy? This weekend, I need you activated, not afraid. I need you taking action, not overanalyzing. I want you to be strategic, not scattered. Powerful, not passive. Write down your plan clearly. What's your ownership strategy? Your collective community. Collective community needs to be in proximity to you. If things pop off, if you need help, coverage, protection, or resources, community is in proximity in order for it to be a strategy. How are you shifting from survival to strategic power? Remember, freedom isn't just individual comfort, it's generational power. Remember, confident women lead because freedom isn't just about comfort today, it's about power and legacy for tomorrow. I love you, sis. Let's get to work.